What's going on, guys? Welcome back to No Reserve Radio. I'm your host, Ren. With me, as always, are my friends Adam and Angelo. We've got an exciting sequel to last week's episode, and this week we're going to be doing the Western Conference teams, their wish list for Christmas. Happy holidays, by the way. If you're listening to us on Christmas Day, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but thank you for joining us on our midlife crisis. Angelo, Adam, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing alright. How are you doing, Angelo?
Pretty good. I actually wanted to talk about something that I thought about from the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ren, have you always been a Pacers fan?
Yes. I have been. Why?
Adam, have you always been a Hawks fan?
No, I grew up as a Hornets fan. I started enjoying the Hawks when I really got into basketball and started watching like Jordan versus Dominique and stuff like that.
Okay, so that's why you transitioned from Hornets to Hawks, is watching Jordan and Dominique.
Yeah.
You were Dominique. Okay, so I haven't always been a Cavs fan. In fact, I probably call myself a very recent Cavs fan. So
he's on the LeBron bandwagon, is what he's saying.
No, actually, no. Believe it or not. So when I was growing up, my team was actually the Seattle Supersonics. And I was a huge Sonics fan. When Durant was drafted, I was over the moon. And then I think Russell Westbrook is just a curse to everyone, because after Russ was drafted, they switched over to Oklahoma City Thunder, and I just could not feel it with the Thunder. Like I don't know if you remember me back then, but you had moments where you, Adam, would tell me like, "Why are you matching on the Thunder? You're supposed to be a Thunder fan." And you know, when I was growing up, I always watched. You know, I was there when LeBron got drafted. I was watching LeBron. I was watching the Cavs loosely, and then so Oklahoma City, and then shortly after Oklahoma City, I became a Cavs fan to watch LeBron, and then LeBron left Cleveland, and I witnessed everyone burning their jerseys. And I'm just like, I still have my LeBron jersey, by the way, when he left, somewhere in my closet. And I was just like, yeah, this isn't for me. And I watched the Heat. I watched LeBron, fail against the Mavericks, win against the Thunder. Actually, that actually felt really good. I'm not gonna lie, when he beat the Thunder. But
when Durant
fail,
choked.
and then what's that?
When Durant choked.
When Durant choked. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd call...
Durant missed the game winner that would have won them the championship.
What? No,
Yeah.
that did not go to Game 7.
It wasn't Game 7. They was up 3-2.
They were not up 3-2.
Hang on, I need to check this. Go ahead and continue your story. I'll fact check.
Okay, so fast forward, LeBron leaves the Heat, goes back to the Cavs. And so, I'm on the Cavs, back on the Cavs bandwagon. Kyrie's there. I actually remember watching early Kyrie from the bowling alley that I played in. And honestly, I wasn't a fan of it. I'm not going to lie. But, so, I don't think everything came full circle for me until that Warriors series where they came back 3-1. And LeBron got that block on Iguodala. And I was just like screaming in my room. My fiance at the time came down and told me to shut up. And I think after that series, I finally felt like a Cavs fan, and I finally got like the closure like I needed. So when LeBron went over to the Lakers, I never went over. I still stayed a Cavs fan. But I think the most interesting part of this journey is that I like football as well, and I really empathize with Browns fans because I don't know very many examples of like someone being a fan of a team and then that team just getting taken away from you. And that did happen with the Browns. And that's another question, because why I'm bringing this up is I was actually reading reports that if the NBA expanded, the Supersonics came back. So I'm going to ask you, if you were me, Ren, and the team that got taken away from you came back, and then you finally accepted another team, what would you do?
See, it's difficult for me because I don't have that experience. So,
See, I guess I have the closer experience to that
yeah, for sure.
because the Hornets went away, and then we got the freaking Bobcats, which nobody wanted,
Right.
and then the Hornets came back when I was a Hawks fan, but I don't know. At that time, and still to this day, I still consider myself more of a Hawks fan than a Hornets fan. But and to get to the point that I was saying earlier, it was Game 2 that Durant choked the shot. My bad. It would have gave him a 2-0 lead in the series.
Oh. No, they were getting dominated. They were getting dominated.
Their better chance at winning was when Russ got
Injured.
Under. Yeah. Because that they should have won that year. But I don't think especially now, like if I was a Cavs fan and like I was an on and again, off again Cavs fan, even if I had been previously a fan of another team, with this young Cavs team, it would be really difficult for me to like get off the bandwagon. Just because that team is a lot of fun and it's a joy to watch every night.
But see, it's not about it's about how I feel about the team. Like, I'm a Bengals fan. I wasn't a Bengals fan before the Super Bowl run. Like,
So you're a Fairweather fan.
Huh?
So you're a Fairweather fan.
I said it wrong. I was a Bengals fan before. I wasn't just a Bengals fan because of the Super Bowl run, is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna say because you're like, oh man, I like the Cavs after they came back 3-1, and after the Super Bowl win, man, the Bengals
No.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
The comeback solidified it for me.
I get what you're saying now. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult because if you have that prior connection to another franchise, but at the same time, like, that's a really fun Cavs team to watch, and now they actually have some decent history to them, so...
Yeah.
I wouldn't view the Supersonics as the same as I view the Supersonics of the past, just because I still see that team in OKC. But yeah, moving right along... we're going to get ahead into the question of the day, get the gears turning before we get into the main topic. So, Adam, go ahead and ask that question.
Okay, so the question of the week is,
Yes.
What line from a song has had the biggest impact on you?
Oh, God.
I can't say it because it involves cursing.
Well, I mean, you have to give us something.
I
You can give us at least the song name, can't you, Angelo?
Lucky you
I
by
agree with
Eminem.
so mine would have lyrics, so I'm just going to say Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. That is a good metaphor to build off of. What about you, Adam?
Mine is also Eminem. And
I can say the start of it. Coming from humble beginnings, I'm somewhat uncomfortable winning, and then I'm not going to go on with the rest. Go on.
mine is from the Real Slim Shady, which was, of course, one of his first ones. And there's a million others just like me, who cuss like me, who just don't give up like me.
God, you guys are so white.
Yeah, we are.
So I had a few, before we get into it, I had a few things to talk about. And I think I'm going to narrow it down. So one, all-star voting started, so I was going to ask your guys' votes, but now two big stories came out in the last hour. I don't know if you guys have been on NBA Twitter, but there's a report that Trae Young could request a trade if the Hawks struggle during the preseason, and DeMar DeRozan also could request a trade. What are your thoughts on both of those? Adam, because Angelo, I don't want to hear you bash Trae Young for 15 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll start with DeMar.
Okay.
I think DeMar needs to get out of there. I think the Bulls
Absolutely.
need to get rid of him because right now, as I said, I think 2 weeks ago, he's getting older. It's the height of his, potential, I guess, right now. It's what we're seeing.
And his value. I don't think
and
his
his
value
value
gets any higher than it is right
Yeah,
now.
so get rid of him. Get you either 2 good players or 1 really good player out of it, or maybe some picks.
Or picks. I was going to say picks. Build that war chest.
Send him to OKC. Get you some picks from them.
Oh, they're not going to.
No.
OKC isn't going to take him. If he's going anywhere, because with his age, I don't know. Like, actually, now that I might have to change one of my wish lists because there's a team that I think could.
I'll say this: I agree with the wanting to go because I think he does have to cement his legacy. When you say DeMar DeRozan to me, my first thought
DeMar
LeBronto. He was the guy who allowed LeBronto to be invented. So I think he needs to solidify himself as a piece on a championship team. So I'll go with Trae Young after you're done, Adam, because I have a good bit to say about that as well.
I'm sure you've got something to say about Trae Young.
Yes.
Here's something that you're not going to expect, though. Please get rid of Trae Young.
That's exactly what I expected from you, and that's what I expect from Angelo.
Thank you.
He is more of a detriment than he is a help.
Thank you.
I watched him the other night go off and hit like 7 shots in a row. And then he didn't hit another shot into the third quarter. He's a detriment on defense. He's a streaky shooter. I hate to keep rehashing the same point, but they messed up when they traded Luka. I say move on to Trae. Send him somewhere where he can be the second or third man.
So my question is, okay, so before we get into Angelo, because there's no reasoning with Angelo, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, you have Trae Young on a rookie extension, right? Where with that kind of money are you going to get someone who in the last 3 games has scored above 30 points? He had 37 2 nights ago. And 13, 16, 9 assists. Where are you going to get that on that kind of a contract?
But does his contract not come up at the end of this year or possibly next?
I believe it's next year, but it's still a rookie extension. It's not.
Yeah, it'll be an RFA. Yeah,
you're not paying him absurd amounts of money for that kind of production.
He signed a 5-year, $215 million deal.
Yeah, but when does that kick in?
Probably in 2 years.
I'm checking.
Or a year.
This year,
after next year,
he's making $37 million.
Oh, oof.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Pay for a guy who had a 5 PER in his last playoff game. Anyway, go on.
Is that a lot of money for a guy that just scored 37 points and 16 assists?
Pascal Siakam just got 52.
I'll start whenever you guys are.
Okay, go ahead. Go on your Trae rant.
Okay, I am going to surprise you. You said it's Trae Young who's requesting?
Yes.
Yeah, if they.
I think he's smart. I think he's smart.
Absolutely.
And here's why I think he's smart. Because if they underperform in the playoffs, even though I'm going to call it DeJounte Murray and the Hawks going in the playoffs, the guy who's going to get the blame nationally, who is that?
Trae Young.
That is Trae Young. And it is, depending on where he goes, if he goes to a place where he isn't the main superstar, the number one guy, I think he's got a shot. So, if he joins forces with someone who can kind of offset some of his deficiencies, then yeah, I think that's a smart move.
That's right.
I'm all for player movement. I think that's a smart decision.
You mean so if a player, a point guard, an undersized point guard, who isn't really great on defense but can shoot the ball pretty well and give you 30, if you were to say pair him with a all-defensive NBA shooting guard and a Defensive Player of the Year nominee, small forward, power forward, you would say that's smart team building?
No. You have to pair him with someone who's better than him.
Ooh,
Period.
I don't know about that.
No, that's 100% true. You have to pair him with someone who's better than him. Because if he's the guy, he's going to choke it. To me, until he shows me, he's going to choke it. Every time. So no, you need to pair with someone who's better than him. Honestly, if it was me, I wasn't going to bring this up because I didn't know this news. But honestly, if you're the Suns and you can find a way to swindle a Chris Paul plus picks for Trae Young deal,
that is a good trade for both teams.
Yeah,
but that's not a knock on Trae at all. Like, that's a better trade for the Suns. That makes more sense for their timeline.
I would rather see Chris Paul and the Hawks.
Really, the only person getting a bad deal there is Chris Paul because that's his last real shot. But
I mean, the Hawks just was Eastern Conference
now. I think he's done now. But go on.
I think he's given up a little bit.
Yeah,
but I don't like if he requests a trade. Obviously, you have to trade him. But I don't think the Hawks should be exploring a trade. I think they should, as I said, they need a coaching change.
I'm not saying get rid of him, but actually, I did say get rid of him earlier. If he's requesting a trade, get rid of. If that's going to be the issue.
Yeah, the moment a player requests a trade, you need to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And I think the Nets kind of are learning that now.
Yeah.
That when a player requests a trade, you just need to go through with it because it just destroys chemistry. But
you don't want to play with that dude.
You don't want to play with that dude, and that dude don't want to play with you.
So I was gonna say we could go over like all-star votes, like our ballots, because I don't know. Have you guys submitted a ballot today yet?
No. I know who won't be on it. Trae Young.
Trae will not be on mine. You are correct there, but we will, I guess, go over that in a future episode, a little closer to the all-star game.
Yeah.
Because right now, I mean, it's fun to talk about now, and maybe we'll talk about it next week if there's not, NBA stars potentially asking for trades to talk about before we get into the segment. But
or being traded.
What about the Suns being sold? That also happened.
Yeah, it's not news because like we've known it's been happening for feels like a year now.
It does.
But yeah,
did it finally happen?
That is a thing. It did happen. You are absolutely correct. Another thing. I think my favorite moment in NBA Twitter now. By the way, follow us on Twitter. We now have socials up, so No Reserve. I think we're No Reserve Radio on all social media.
On all social media.
So on all social media, follow us. It'll be dumb. You'll enjoy it. Just follow us. My favorite moment of NBA Twitter now is actually a LeBron thing. He was on the court warming up for the Kings, and he took a picture of the arena, and in the background there's a sign that says Kings, and it's just in the background. It's not a focal point of the picture at all. And LeBron, being petty, because he's LeBron, and he is the king of petty,
he is the petty
scribbled out the S, so it just said King.
Wow.
I mean,
yeah, it's...
I like it. I like it.
It's
I
LeBron.
like it a lot.
But I think we've wasted enough time, so we can get into the actual purpose of this episode. Last week, if you didn't join us, we did a Christmas wish list for all teams in the Eastern Conference, and it got a little spicy at the end.
So if you haven't watched last week, go watch last week's.
Go listen to last week's. So we split it up into Western Conference and Eastern Conference because we knew it was going to take long. We did a random generator so that we each got teams. I think that I got the short end of the stick this week because all of mine are really boring.
100%.
But I'm excited for it. It's a fun idea for an episode. It works really well, and we get into some fun bantering. So I think I started last week. So Angelo, we will have you start this week. So go ahead with your first team.
All right. My first team is the Grizzlies. I always like to start with the team I think has the least. I don't think the Grizzlies have a lot that they wish for. I think Desmond Bane coming back healthy is the biggest thing because Bane, they are right now 9-11. They're tied for the first seed. They're the second seed, I think, with tiebreakers because of the Nuggets. 7-3 in the last 10. Bane's out 3 to 4 weeks. I think these Grizzlies team is stacked, and I think Bane has taken the biggest leap. Like, I think I looked at the numbers. Ja's playing about the same. Jaren Jackson's playing about the same. The bench and the depth have been playing a lot better. But Bane's health, I think, is 100% because Bane has taken the next step, and he is, like, if not on Ja's level, he's close, and he provides the defensive utility. If you look at the numbers, he's really close. I'm not gonna. It's true.
It's too early in the episode. I'm not touching that, but just know I'm saying oof.
Yeah.
Because Ja is that guy. Ja is. If he is not a superstar, he is just outside of that. And Desmond Bane, while really, 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 really good and someone I would want on any team I'm building, he's not a superstar. So
he's getting.
I'm gonna pump the time though. Did y'all see Nike released the logo for the Ja Morant signature shoes?
You mean
I did
the basic logo that looks like every other logo?
It literally looks like they took the Mamba logo from the Kobe's and flipped it upside down and made it look like a JA. It is awful, but I have a theory. All right, that when the Ja ones come out, or when they're even announced, I'm not sure if they've actually shown the shoes yet. It's going to look like the next Kyrie shoe. Like, it's going to follow the same streamlined pattern, and this is them. Like, if you scratch off the Ja logo that I'm sure they're already putting on them, there's going to be that Kyrie logo.
I can see it.
I
can definitely see it.
But you know who doesn't have a shoe deal? Desmond Bane.
Does DeRozan have it?
Does DeRozan have it? Like, probably with, like, Fila or Anti or whatever. But not like a main shoe deal.
Mm-mm.
But no one's...
Nike?
Well, he has a shoe deal, I'm sure, but not like a signature shoe.
No.
Lance Stevenson's got those and ones.
No.
Oh, he's wearing Kobe's.
He's probably signed with the... Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna... Oh!
But I don't have anything else to add to the Grizzlies. I think that's accurate. I think the biggest need they have is going to be just health overall. I know Jaren's missed some games this season. And he's missed... I'm going to have to fact check it, but I think he's missed quite a significant number of games in his career so far, which is a little alarming given how integral he is to their defense. Let's see real quick. So, oh yeah, he's missed a lot of games. Never mind. That's what it felt like, but in 2022 or 2020, he only played 11 games. So health in general, I think, is a good point to make for, or point of emphasis to make for the Grizzlies. I don't know how you necessarily get there because some players just their bodies get held up for whatever reason. Yep. Call it bad luck, or I won't call it genetics, but yeah, Desmond Bane getting healthy, that's a decent one. Adam, do you want to go first, or should I go first?
You go ahead.
So like I said, my teams that I got rolled just aren't that fun, so mine are going to be pretty quick to get through. So my first team is actually going to be the Denver Nuggets. And with most of my teams, I actually struggled to find something just because either my teams are really good or really bad. So either they didn't need anything or they needed everything. With the Nuggets, it was actually fairly easy to come up with something. With how talented they are a bottom 5 defensive team in terms of rating, and the third worst defensive efficiency team, particularly from the wing position. So as we go into the trade deadline, the Nuggets are not doing themselves any favors if they are not looking for a defensive wing that can shoot the 3. right now, when someone gets past Jamal Murray or gets past
Michael Porter Jr.
or they get past Jokic, there's no help defense on this team. It just doesn't get there. If they can't slow the tide on the other side, they're not going to go deep in the playoffs, no matter how great offensively they've been playing. And with how talented that team is, it's just offensive as a basketball fan for them not to make a deep playoff run, because they are a fun team to watch.
You know who I think would actually fit that team perfectly?
Jared Vanderbilt.
Matisse Thybulle. Defensive guard, can help on the perimeter or in the paint. He's not as good in the paint, but he can get on a little weight and some strength. He'd be really good.
I like Thybulle as a player, but he's such an offensive liability. I'm going to stick with Jared Vanderbilt. If OG Anunoby could stay healthy, he would be my number one trade target for that team, but OG Anunoby cannot stay healthy.
See, I just think you could get Matisse at such a value right now.
Oh, yeah, you could buy real low, but I just don't think the value's there offensively, and I think that's going to create some double teams.
You have Aaron Gordon, you have Michael Porter Jr., you have Jokic, and Jamal Murray. You don't really have to worry about offense.
Right, yes, but if you have a player that doesn't even need to be guarded at the rim,
it's like the Thunder's
a lot of help. You're creating a lot of help defense that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
So you're basically playing defense on yourself by having someone that bad. Now, off the bench, I like Thybulle as a
I'm not saying he'd be a starter.
You can bring him in situationally. But that team needs someone that's going to play 30 to 35 minutes a game as we get into the playoffs.
I think Jeremy Grant, if they could get him, would fit good.
What about Kyle Kuzma?
I like Kyle Kuzma's offense, but I'm not sure about his defense. Like, in a playoff situation. Like, in the regular season, sure, fine. But in the playoffs, like, I need someone on that team that can be the number one defender and not be a liability offensively. But that's all I've got on the Nuggets. That's my most boring one, and they're all pretty boring. So, Adam, if you want to go into your first one.
Okay, well, before we started recording, I wrote down a little list and what the order I was going to do this. Looking back through it, and from what we've talked about, I'm changing that list and the order of it. So, I'm actually going to start with OKC just because we talked on this earlier. Okay. My thing is something that Angelo has talked on, and something we talked on earlier, is they need to trade some of those picks and get something. So, my Christmas wish list for them is that they use a couple of their picks, get them just an extra player, and then going into the draft, if they still have their pick, which I'm not sure if they do, but going into
the Thunder, of course they do.
Yeah, so
it's Sam Presti if he's not trading his own pick.
So going into the next season, trade those picks, get you a second star player to go alongside Shea, and then draft somebody decent in the draft. You have a good starting core.
Here's my hot take. Okay. I think it's more likely they trade SGA than they trade for a star, because they have to figure out if they got something with Chet Holmgren or not.
But that's what I'm saying. If with Chet being injured,
and if they don't have something with Chet, they need to move SGA.
But with Chet being injured right now, SGA is your only thing keeping you going.
I think you trade SGA. I don't think you trade SGA. I think you take a long, hard look at what your plan is for the next 5 years. Yep. Because if you're not going to move those pieces and you're just continually waiting on development, you're wasting SGA's career, and you're going to just lose him in free agency at some point. Because at some point,
he's going to be
sticktive.
Or he's going to request a trade.
Oh, no, he's just going to leave.
Yeah, I could see him just leaving. Like, in free agency, just deuces. But, let's see. So, next year, they have 2 first-round picks, the Clippers and their own.
Yep.
Clippers are going to go over playoffs probably, so.
Right, the Clippers is a 20s pick. But the next year's draft, at least now, like we're still far away from it. But it looks like it's a pretty deep draft, and considering how young they are, I would try holding on to that pick.
They're the youngest team in the NBA?
2024, they actually have 4 first-round picks. And this is where it gets interesting, because they have the Clippers.
Houston's.
They have the Clippers, which I'm guessing they don't actually have the Clippers next year or 2024 because Stipe rule. So I'm guessing they have an option of one of those two. But then they also have Houston and Utah. Yep. And we know, like, those are 2 picks that could potentially be very valuable because eventually Utah will be.
What are the protections on those?
I'm not sure.
Or are they swaps? Oh, if they're swaps, oh no. Oh no.
2025, they have 4 again, but that's Clippers, Miami, Philadelphia, and their own. We know the Clippers, Miami, and Philadelphia are going to be good. And then 2026, they have 3.
I don't know if the Clippers are going to be good. 2025.
I don't know. I feel like as the Clippers start to regress, they might look to move Kawhi or Paul George and get future assets. But regardless, Oklahoma City has a huge war chest, and if Presti's not going to utilize it, he's failing as a general manager. So I agree. I think this is the year you make a decision of which way you're going to go with your franchise. What is your 5-year plan? And how do you plan on getting there? If your plan, when you've got Shea and Chet and Josh Giddey, your plan really shouldn't be future young assets. It should be future youngish assets that are going to contribute now, because
someone around like
your
Lonzo
window
Ball's
with
age.
SGA.
Someone around like Lonzo Ball's age, like 24, 25, 26.
Yeah, because with you want someone that's going to fit SGA's window, because the future might be Chet Holmgren, but we don't know that yet. But right now, you have to build with the idea that you're going to be competing in SGA's prime, because if you're not, you're going to lose him. Because there's only so much he can put up with.
But yeah, I think that's my list for OKC. Like I said, I think the best option, which I have a trade place for Shea later on. Which I will get into that when we get on later down the list, because I did have a place for him to go.
So I think the big question is, okay, put yourself in the mind of Sam Presti. You said you have Houston's, you said you have Utah's. Those are going to be lotto picks, let's be real.
Utah's in the playoffs right now, aren't they?
Stop it.
They're 18 and 16.
Yeah, what's their last 10?
2 years ago?
That's what I'm trying to get to right now.
Because they've been punching above their weight. And
they're
it's
11 and 5 at home.
I've been all about the Utah Cinderella story, but we know they're going to punch down at their weight eventually.
So you said, I think Sam Presti likes to think of himself as like Danny Ainge, like, essentially.
Yeah, he is.
And the question I think I'd be asking if I was Sam Presti is my Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum here now, or do I want to get that with 2 picks in the next 2 years? That's the question.
Yeah, if there's any team that has the assets to go out and get a superstar, it is the OKC Thunder.
Oh. I think it also would be a good story because they're probably one of the few teams that have the assets to trade for Durant, and I think it would be a good story, him going back to OKC and then trying to get them a title that he never, finished.
Yeah,
he never finished that chapter.
Utah,
he's not going back to OKC.
Utah is 5 and 5, by the way, in their last 10.
Yeah, so they're starting to come back down to earth, and teams are starting to figure out the gimmick. But
I just hope they don't cost the Lakers a playoff spot. That would probably be the worst thing. That would be the worst.
Carmelo's not on that team, so I'm fine with it.
That would be the worst. Oh, man.
Well, let's go on. That was Who had OKC? Or
That was me.
Adam had OKC, so we're back to Angelo at the top of the order.
Okay, my number 2 is the Suns.
Alright.
So the Suns currently sit at 19 and 13. They're the 4th seed. They're 4 and 6 in their last 10. So I said this earlier in the show. Chris Paul has clearly regressed. Chris Paul is now down to a PER of 17. His points are down by 2. His just about everything is down. Ayton has stayed the same. Bridges is a little bit up with his scoring and his efficiency. D Book is the guy who has taken the next step. He's gotten the points that Chris Paul has taken away. His PER is now up to 22.6. I think my wish list for the Suns is have D Book continue to be the guy trying to put the team on his back and have him take the next step to be the guy who can carry the team to the finals, because as of right now, it's a nice core. I don't know if I really view them as a team that... They're really flawed, and I don't know if I view them as a team that can make it to the finals. I'm not going to lie. I know they had that finals run against Milwaukee, but the whole thing with Aiden in the offseason, Chris Paul regressing...
And then Monty just the other night...
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see how they do it.
I think there's a lot of chemistry issues on that team.
Yeah, D-Book literally would have to carry them out to the finals.
So if you're... I think it's in February. I think it's right before the trade deadline when Ayton is able to be traded.
Yep.
Do you move Ayton? Do you move Chris Paul? Do you move... I think you hold on to Bridges. I think Bridges has done his job very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
But what pieces do you move to make that team a contender? Because I think the only people that are for sure locked into staying are D-Book, because there's not value coming back, and Bridges just because he plays a role perfectly.
Yeah, but Bridges isn't like a second star that you put next to D-Book.
Oh, no, not at all. But
Yeah.
he's one of those value guys.
100%. So I guess the thing is, do you think that? Okay, I'm the GM of the Suns. I just got, I now have a new owner. I have the superstar D-Book, but I have a bunch of people who aren't happy. Because Chris Paul isn't going to net you something of positive, I don't think.
It's positive by subtraction, just getting
D-Book has already taken up the slack that Chris Paul has regressed down to, though. And plus, you get his facilitating. Chris Paul's, at least. That's less pressure of D-Book to have to be the focal point of the offense. You can spell D-Book out a little bit with plays and Chris Paul pass to him.
So do you want to know why, what you get as a positive from trading Chris Paul?
What, defense?
How many years do you think he has left on his contract?
3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken.
He has 2.
2?
And not including this one, so 2.5.
So 3. Yeah, 3.
So yeah, at $30 million a year.
$90 million contract.
Just getting that contract off the books. It's addition by subtraction. Make a splash in free agency. You have the warm weather draw. Players want to play with Booker. We know that. He's a great player. He seems like a great teammate.
So, what if...
I don't like playing that game.
We talked on this earlier about the Chris Paul Trae Young trade.
Mm-hmm.
What if they did a 3-way trade in some way that landed Damian Lillard on the Suns, Chris Paul onto the Trailblazers, or Trae Young on the Trailblazers, and Chris Paul onto the Hawks?
So it falls apart because
Damian would fit better with Booker.
Damian would be better, but the problem is there is, as much as we all want to see Damian Lillard leave the Blazers and win, And I think every basketball fan wants it. Like, Lillard is one of those guys that's like
No.
Derrick Rose. You
I
don't
don't
want to
think-
see him win?
I want to see him win it.
He made his bed. He said, "This is where I want to be."
That is
Go rot in the trail.
noble, though.
Go rot in the Trailblazers. You don't deserve a title. Go rot.
LeBron said this is where he wanted to be when he went back to Cleveland. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Can't you
think
go,
most
dude?
I think most rational basketball fans want to see Lillard win. But Angelo's not wrong. He wants to win in Portland, and I think there are very few players that I can say for certain are going to finish their careers with the teams they're on. I think Lillard is one of those guys. I don't think they'll trade him. I think he's got a loyalty to the team, and the team has a loyalty to him. That's the only reason I think that would fall through.
I was just asking, in a hypothetical situation, do you think Lillard would fit better with Booker if that trade happened in some way?
Hypothetical, I think Booker is the better player. Or not Booker. I think Lillard is the better player. So I do think he fits better with Booker. I don't think it's
Viable, no. It's not happening. But
no, it's not viable. But yeah, I
just feel like that would give all the teams something that they wanted.
I like the idea better of getting Trae Young straight up, because Booker, to me, I think needs to be, if I'm a GM and I'm trying to find, people around Booker, I want Booker to be the centerpiece. I want him to be the guy with the ball in his hands at the end of the game.
right.
I
At
don't
the end of the game with Lillard, it's Lillard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
having
game time.
both of
Game
them
time.
is, to me, would just be, I don't know. I see where you're going, who takes the shot, but...
And I think that Trae fits the window more because Lillard
100%.
is getting up there in age. Booker is still young. That gives you a backcourt of the future.
I mean, Booker's not that young, is he? He's like 28. Hang on, I'm looking him up right now.
Booker's like 26, 27, isn't he?
Yeah, Booker's 26. Yeah, that fits their window.
26,
Trae's
my bad.
24. And like I said, I want Lillard to finish his career in Portland, even if he never wins it. I think that the man has given all of his blood, sweat, and tears to that city, and he deserves it if that's
Tragedy.
what it needs to be. You can call it a tragedy. I think it's kind of a noble
Travesty.
I mean,
pursuit.
I respect
Tragedy.
it for the same reason that I respect what Dirk did. He stayed there through all the hardships and could have left 100 times.
Dirk
But-
won a title.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He stayed there and the title finally came. And I respect someone who stays on their team.
Yeah,
But
No.
in today's NBA, there's not that respect anymore.
There's not what?
There's not that anymore. There's not those people who stay with their team. Like,
There's no team that's... Stop it. Stop acting like teams have this unspoken loyalty to players. Stop
it's a business. It is a business.
Yeah,
Thank you. Just stop.
It's not about the teams, it's about the fans. That's where that's the roadblock you're running into here, is because there's a trifecta. There's the player, the team, which is the corporate management and the money and all that, and then there's the fans. And I think that those three have to work a symbiotic relationship, and I think that Damian Lillard not only making a commitment to the team but to the fans is a noble pursuit, whether you agree with that or not. I get that you value rings over anything, which is strange because we could bring up the rings debate in terms of the greatest of all time and you would suddenly not care as much about rings, but we'll get there when we get there. But Dame has a loyalty to Portland, not the organization necessarily, but the community, the people. That is a noble pursuit, whether you agree with it or not. It is. I think it should be applauded in today's NBA. He's not...
I don't.
No, I agree to disagree. But moving on, because we spent enough time on the Suns, that wasn't a Blazers topic yet. Blazers are coming eventually. I think Adam rolled the Blazers.
Yep, and I will actually probably just do it next since we started Or well, after you, I'll do it. Just because we started on.
I was gonna say it's my turn. You're not stealing mine, even though again mine are really
You
boring.
did
So
last week.
my number 2 is the Rockets. This one was another one that was fairly easy, which is a running theme on my list.
It's really easy.
They are a young team. They are the second youngest team in the NBA. They need a veteran presence on that team. And not an Eric Gordon looking the other way veteran presence while the two young stars are arguing about who should get the last shot. They need a guy in the locker. What?
Swaggy P. Go on.
No. They need someone who's going to control the locker room. They are the 4th worst team in second half scoring. They're not that bad in the first half, but you expect them to be bad because they're so young, and we're expecting them to be at the highest end of the draft lottery odds. But just the other night, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the night before, all of my games kind of blend together. They blew a 15-point lead against the Orlando Magic, another young team. I just don't know how this team is going to develop without someone mentoring these young players.
It was
we talked
last night,
about
by the way.
It was last night? Okay.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people, I think Angelo is one of them, that thinks coaching and mentorship is irrelevant. We're seeing in real time how a young team without a sense of direction implodes upon itself. I think I might actually do it, just go through and find all the young stars that have developed and blown up, and those second round picks who become all NBA players, and look at the teams they were on and see what kind of locker room presence they had around them. Because right now we're watching Jalen Green and Jabari Smith fight on the floor because one of them thinks they should get the shot over the other. There's a lot of immaturity in this team, and there's not some grizzled old veteran to smack them on the back of the head and tell them they're on the same team.
Is that really the problem, or is the problem that they both have similar play styles and similar mindsets?
Right, but you have to learn to coexist on a court. And I think someone that's been around the block knows that and is able to ingrain that into them out of, I don't want to call it fear, but an old veteran who's going to just beat it into them.
See,
disagree. And here's why I disagree. Because there's a prime example of something like this happening recently, and that's Kyrie and LeBron. If they clash like that, sure, a veteran might be able to, shut one of them up for a while, but eventually that guy that isn't getting the final shot, that thinks he should be getting the final shot, is going to be like, well, bump this, I'm getting out of here, and I'm going to a place where I can prove that I am the guy. You're not solving anything. All this really proves to me is the Rockets didn't think about roster construction properly and drafted 2 players with very similar skill sets that both want to take the final shot.
But you can have 2 players that want to take the final shot. It can coexist. What year did LeBron go back to Cleveland?
2014, I think.
2014, 2015, I think.
Was it really that early?
It was 2014 or 2015, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Regardless, at that point in time, Kyrie was a 5-year NBA veteran. He wasn't 2 years into the league. He had spent time in the league learning the game.
And so was the superstar on that team.
Yeah, and he was, at that point, he was a burgeoning superstar. He was arguably the 2nd or 3rd best point guard in the league in terms of just pure skill. What?
They never made the playoffs.
That doesn't.
It doesn't matter. You can be a superstar without making playoffs.
That matters. No, that matters in terms of legacy. I will give you that. It does not matter in terms of individual talent. It doesn't. Kyrie Irving was the 2nd or 3rd best point guard in the league at that time. That has nothing to do with, he didn't make the playoffs. Just watching him play. The eye test, what you're doing, you're looking at the stats. Did he make the playoffs? Yes, no. That doesn't matter. Go watch Kyrie those years leading up to LeBron coming back. What?
I did. I had a
Clearly
first-hand
not.
experience of it.
Clearly not. Because Kyrie was one of the, if not the most technically skilled players in the game at that time. Doesn't matter if they didn't make the playoffs. Stop. Like, the playoffs are not the be-all, end-all. There is a talent.
They're playing the games.
What?
It's the end goal of playing the game.
It's the end goal, absolutely. But as we've established, basketball is a team sport.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That is a decent metaphor. But it's a team marathon. And if only one person is driving that bus, you're not getting there. It doesn't matter how good you are. Unless you are like one of the greatest of all time, like a Kobe, a LeBron, and MJ. But if you're just a really, really, really good player, you need help.
I.e. Tracy McGrady.
So I just don't base it entirely on playoff appearances. He was incredibly talented. He knew what he was doing. He had spent enough time in the league. This isn't a second-year player and a first-year player clashing on the bench because one of them wants the final shot. There's a difference. And Kyrie had veteran mentorship on that team. I don't think if... Who is the oldest player on the Rockets right now? Is it Eric Gordon?
Probably is.
It's either Eric Gordon or Boban. But regardless, like, you watch that video of them fighting on the court, and Eric Gordon is looking at the scoreboard. He's completely checked out. He's just riding out the contract until it's time to retire. They need a voice in that locker room that's going to get it under control. That's not.
Oh my God, he is.
The oldest player is him and Boban.
Yep.
Yeah, you need a guy that's not a coach because you need someone that's representative of the players, not the corporation, to kind of grab them both by the scruff of the neck and say, look, this is how we do it in the NBA, and just lead them to development. Because if they don't have that, they're just going to keep doing this.
See, I absolutely disagree. I think you need a coach that was a player.
It's kind of the same thing.
Well, you need someone like, as much as I hate him as a coach, you need somebody like Jason Kidd.
Ooh.
I love Jason Kidd as a player. He's one of my favorite point guards of all time. Horrible coach.
Ooh. Well,
that's right.
I don't got anything else to say about the Rockets. So if you want to move on, because I think you said you were doing the Blazers.
Yeah,
next.
I might as well do the Blazers since we was talking about it. So,
Yeah.
for the Blazers, I think it's pretty easy. You just want Anthony Simons to keep developing the way he is. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
This man took such a huge step from. He's literally a zero to hero. Like, he was a nobody coming in. No offense to you, Anthony, if you're listening, but
wasn't he like a 14th, 15th pick in the draft? Something like that.
I can actually look that up for me while I'm going on my rant.
Okay.
Okay. But so that has to be where you start with, or where I start with the Christmas list. But
he was pick number 24.
24.
Yeah.
Wow. Go on.
But I think that's not the whole present. I think to complete the present, you need more than just Anthony developing. And that's honestly why I think you move on from Dame.
Where did he go to college?
Do not remember.
Oh, he didn't go to college.
AMG Academy?
Yeah, that explains why he fell in the draft.
Yeah.
He didn't go to college.
So see, this man was a virtual nobody, and he's becoming, if not a all-star, he's a borderline all-star.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. He's borderline. I think that if Dame gets injured again for any amount of time, then we'll be seeing Simons in the All-Star game. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him anyway. I think fans love him, whether you're a fan of the the Blazers just have a lot of guys that you have to root for, because if you're a basketball fan, you just enjoy the way they play the game.
My problem,
I think the Trailblazers are just a fun team.
My problem with him,
I will say, I put Portland Trailblazers roster into Google, and the answer came up Damian Lillard. So, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he has like 90% of that team, but the other 10%. But I just think that I really like the Blazers. That's all I gotta say about it. They are one of my favorite. If I had to pick a team in the Western Conference to follow, it would be the Blazers.
I mean, all I'm saying is that last year he averaged 17 points a game, which I watched. Not last year, 2020, the 2020 season. I was a big Trailblazer fan because Carmelo was there. He averaged 7.8 points during that season. And during that season, I'm pretty sure you guys remember me saying, this Anthony Simmons kid's gonna be something. It was him and Gary Trent Jr. that I was so infatuated with. And Gary Trent has let me down. I thought he was gonna be something bigger than he is.
I wouldn't say he's let me down. I think he's
a good player, but he's not.
I think I'd rather be a Pacers fan than a Trailblazers fan. That's how little I respect the Trailblazers.
That's disappointing. As a Pacers fan, I'm insulted because I think the Blazers have a really good team.
I will say, I remember when LeBron was thinking about leaving before he made the decision. There was a joke going around that he was going to sign with the Trailblazers, and he was going to break his fingers signing the contract because all the players got injured.
Yeah, I think with the exception, going into my next team, well, no, not my next team because I have my order written here, but 2 teams from now, I think there's eerie similarities with just the bad luck of those franchises in terms of injuries. But you got to roll with the punches. Like, you're not always going to have a healthy team, and you've got to figure that out and make it work. I don't think the Blazers have done a great job about that, but I think that the team itself, the players on the court, are very enjoyable.
Yeah, the players. Dame is one of the most fun people to watch. Him and Steph Curry is probably the 2 best point guards. Like, I love watching them.
They're super fun to watch, and that's, I think, at the end of the day, like, we can all talk about, trophies are the most important, which they are for the players.
It's entertainment for us. As long as
as fans, it should be about the enjoyment. And if you're
entertained by Damian Lillard,
if you're
you know what I like Damian Lillard? When he waved OKC off in the playoffs. You don't do that in the regular season.
Yeah, I think you celebrate a win, every win, as if it was a championship, in my opinion.
Yeah, you have to treat every win. Every win has to be important, and
you haven't been there before.
I think you're not able to define the line, because there's a difference between an NBA fan and a basketball fan. And I think an NBA fan only cares about rings, which, again, if I bring up rings in the GOAT conversation, you're suddenly going to not care about rings as much. But as a basketball fan, in terms of the game being played, there is nothing about the way that the Trailblazers play that's not fun. It's just not. It is an enjoyable game of basketball to watch. Whether it's successful or not, that's irrelevant. You don't watch and one because you think they're going to win an NBA Finals or the Harlem Globetrotters. You watch it because it's fun.
The man can play with them.
He probably couldn't, because that's a whole different thing. But the Blazers are fun. You can disagree with that because you care more about like NBA titles than pure basketball. But I'm gonna say the Blazers are a fun team and move on.
For anyone listening, I will add, if you're a Blazers fan, if you're not a Blazers fan, let us know in the comments of the YouTube or of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. Just let us know what you think about this, because obviously, me and Ren's on the same side, and Angelo is way off over there.
Who doesn't like the lovable losers that is the Portland Trailblazers? But they're losers! Well, next topic! Oh my god.
Yeah, it's you, Angelo. We're waiting on you.
Okay, thank God. I got the Timberwolves. Maybe I won't be saying thank God after that.
No one's ever said thank God to be a Timberwolves fan.
Ain't that the truth? So, Timberwolves, they currently sit at 16-15. If I'm not mistaken, they've won the last 3 games. They're currently sitting at the 9th seed in a play-in tournament, having gone 6-4 in their last 10. I really think, because having thought about this, I think they regret that Gobert trade greatly, because I can't think of a worse player, maybe Russell Westbrook, a worse player to try and build a team around that is so limited as Gobert. Because he's not going to play perimeter defense. He is just an inside threat. So now you can't have another great slasher because Gobert is going to be clogging the paint. Now you can't have great defensive rotations because on a pick, Gobert is going to sag off into the paint a lot of the times. Right. You can't. It's hell. It's terrible.
Right, and I think that's so. When they made that trade, like, I was all on board with that trade because Gobert and Cat is the perfect, on paper, I'm going to preface this with saying on paper, Twin Towers pairing. Because how they both play complements each other really well on paper. And I think that when that trade happened, I was 100% for it.
I will too.
But the whole point of the Twin Towers lineup in the modern NBA is to force the opponents to adjust their game plans, and nobody is because they don't have to. You don't need to Gobert! That's what I'm saying. What? So, like, when you're watching them play, and I watch a lot of Timberwolves games because, for whatever reason...
You hate yourself and your Pacers fan, but go on.
And there's so many times where Gobert is standing in the paint and there's someone wide open in the corner. And this man, this very tall French man, points out to the corner at this man that's on the three-point line wide open. And he's just pointing, and seconds go past. And then the ball comes to that corner, and that corner shoots the three. Even if you are not a great perimeter defender, and we know Rudy Gobert for all of his... Even you being a Gobert hater, he's an elite interior defender. We know that. Not great on the perimeter, but at least getting a hand in the face of someone instead of wasting your time pointing at them. He is not committing to the closeout because that would leave the paint open. Which I get. But if you're going to point at a wide open man in the corner and call it out, just close out on them. Offensively, we know Gobert is not much of a threat. Like, yes, he's going to be a lob threat, and yes, he's an inside threat sometimes.
He's a threat to lead the league in, like, shooting percentage, but he's going to take, like, 4 shots a game.
Right. 5 shots. And you've got... If you're going to run the Twin Towers, you have to make teams adjust, and they're not, because I'm not going to call Gobert a defensive liability, because I think that would be hubris because of how great he is as an interior defender. But there were 3 or 4 plays in the last game I watched of the Timberwolves where he just watched someone wide open in the corner because he won't go out and guard them. Yeah, he's not good on the perimeter. But just get a hand in the guy's face.
I have to agree with Angelo. I think Gobert is just not a good fit when you've got someone like Anthony Edwards who is not a great three-point shooter. I mean, he's shooting 36% on the season. I mean, it's average, but he's not a great three-point shooter. You want him driving. You want him finishing around the rim. And I don't want him sitting out at the three-point line shooting 10 threes a game.
No.
And that's what he shot against Chicago Sunday. He shot 10 threes.
Maybe this is biased from a Cavs fan, but watching Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell play, and now divorced, makes me appreciate Donovan Mitchell more. What he had to deal with that.
If I was going to pair a big with Cat, there's only 2 people in the league right now that I think would fit for that Twin Towers mindset, and that's Anthony Davis and Miles Turner for different reasons. I think the Gobert experiment has failed. Do I think they regret the trade?
I would.
I don't think they do, but...
So, I know you're going to disagree with this, but I think the person that would fit perfectly in that Twin Tower setup with Cat would be Domantas Sabonis.
That was another one of my thoughts, but I like him too much on the Kings. And I think
his ability to pass, his ability to score, he's not a great defender, but I mean...
Yeah, the passing was what did it for me. I think that fits that team perfectly because they've got, D'Lo and...
If the Timberwolves are in the play-in tournament, I don't care what seed. I'm not confident picking them against anyone.
Oh, no, I don't think so either. I'm not sure... Unless, something clicks, I'm not a big fan of that team.
Ant has to take the next step. That's their option.
I think the only team that they could stand a chance against would be New Orleans, and that's only because Rudy versus Zion.
No.
Absolutely not.
That's not even close. No.
You have to. Zion would be shut down. He would have to be a shooter.
Maybe the Lakers if AD got hurt.
I don't think Zion would be shut down. I don't think you stop Zion this year. Man's a freight train. We'll get to them later, but yeah, no, I don't know if they regret it.
I would.
I don't think regret is the right word. Would they take it back if given the opportunity? Probably, but I don't like to call that buyer's remorse.
You know what I equate this to? This is baseball, and this is a basketball thing, but to me, the Mets just spent $500 million just to make the playoffs once. That's kind of how I feel about the Minnesota Timberwolves trade. They mortgaged their future to make the playoffs once. Good job, buddies.
I think that Gobert has done well in that team, and I think it's been a decent tenure.
Dude, their rebounding outside of Gobert and Cat is atrocious.
Yeah, but Gobert the other night had 16 points and 21 rebounds.
Are you sure you want to go down that hill?
Down what hill?
Down the hill of Gobert and Cat's the only one that's rebounding.
Yeah, that's a...
You might want to look at the man named Anthony Edwards averaging 8.4 rebounds a game.
Yeah, I don't think it's an ideal situation. I don't think they regret it. If they could take it back and go a different direction, would they? Maybe. But I don't want to call that regret.
I think it's set up, honestly, one of those, breakpoint effects where that Gobert trade made it a lot harder for teams to trade their stars. I think if that Gobert trade doesn't happen, I think Kevin Durant might be already out of Brooklyn.
Oh, probably. But I think if I was doing, and I'm not taking your pick away from you here, but if I was doing, you mentioned it, but if I was doing the Timberwolves wish list, it would be for Anthony Edwards to take that next step, because I think if Anthony Edwards takes that next step, that's a dangerous team.
I think he's took it. I think Cat's still holding him back.
And this is what takes tonight.
Let me say, I am the biggest Anthony Edwards hater when he came out. I have been more impressed by what he has done than any rookie player in the last 10 years. Other than maybe Giannis. But even he didn't have a good rookie season.
Giannis, no. But
we're spending a lot of time on some of these, but...
Yeah.
I think we'll move on now. So I think it's me, right?
Yep, for your third pick.
Yeah, so it's me. So in my expanding list of great teams to get assigned, I got the Golden State Warriors. And
I got some hot takes with them, but go on.
you'll get to yours just because mine is so short.
No, I got some hot take with your pick.
Yeah, I've got a hot take with the Warriors as well.
No, and you can go off on those because mine is very boring for the Golden State Warriors, which is just their bench. They have been horrible. They are the worst net rating in the league. They have the highest rate of turnovers in the league, and if Jordan Poole isn't going off, and he's only averaging 14.2 points, something like that off the bench, they are horrible. Jonathan Kuminga, horrible. James Wiseman, horrible. We expect more from these players, especially Jordan Poole, especially after that contract. And he's doing, like, with Curry being out, he's been starting, and he's doing great in that role. I think he had 40 points the other night. But when he's coming off the bench, it's a completely different role, and it should be easier. And he's struggling.
So here's my theory, and here's my hot take.
Okay.
Because it actually has to do with Jordan Poole and the rest of the young core that the Warriors drafted, including Wiseman, Kuminga. I think after, granted, I don't have access to inside the Golden State Warriors, but I think after the whole situation with Poole and Draymond, I think those young guys are ready for this to be the last year and them to move on. These people who are scared to write off the Warriors, you're foolish. They're not doing it. They're not together. You can see it. They're not together. They don't have that singular cause anymore. They won their chip. Now Poole, Kuminga, and Wiseman are ready to move on past Draymond, past Clay.
Okay.
I'm writing them off.
If you kept going with that and write off Steph, I was gonna that was gonna be like the 8th oof of the night.
Okay, so then are you ready for the 8th oof of the night?
Oh God.
I think you trade Steph.
That's all the time we got for this week, folks. Join us next week.
Now, hear me out.
No.
I think there's a perfect trade destination for Steph.
Okay, what are they getting back?
LaMelo Ball.
No.
You trade Steph. He wants to. He said he wanted to end his career in Charlotte because that's where his dad played.
Golden State hangs up the phone.
I completely agree. That's why this is a hot take and not everyone's going to agree with it.
Stephen Curry is
the best shooter of all time, the best point guard of all time, hands down.
And he's also playing the best basketball of his career at 34 years old.
But do you keep that Steph Curry for 3 years?
Yes.
Or do you...
Yes.
I don't know. I just think...
Look, that man has nothing left to prove. If he wants to finish his career in Golden State...
Oh, yeah. It's 100% up to him. I'm saying, for me, I think he wants to go to Charlotte, or he said he did. He wanted to end his career in Charlotte. That's what he said when he was younger. That's probably changed by now, which I don't blame him.
Yeah,
but
but
I just think that works out better with the team fit, because then you have LaMelo, who is... and this is going to be another hot take. LaMelo, who's a better playmaker.
Than who?
Than Curry. I think LaMelo is a better playmaker than Curry.
Oh.
But I'm not saying younger Curry, like 2015 playoff. No, best was a great player.
Curry is playing all-time great basketball right now.
Oh man!
I think that you trade him, you get LaMelo, then you have a young team with LaMelo, Wiseman, and Kuminga.
Look, I'm trading. I'm trading Dre. I'm trading Clay.
Yes.
I'm trading Poole. I'm not trading Curry. I'm just not. If I have Steph Curry on my team, Steph Curry is staying on my team, unless you're offering me like a Luka. I even then I would question it. Because that man is given, again, it's like Lillard, except with success. He's given everything to that city.
Yes, and that's why I would not be opposed to him staying there. I'm just saying I think that would be... Go ahead.
There are going to be streets named in the Bay Area after Stephen Curry.
Oh yeah, if Dwayne Wade got an entire county named after him.
Oh no, we're not trading Steph.
No.
I am speaking for the Warriors. We're not trading stuff. We will trade everyone else. We're not trading stuff.
Then.
But yeah, I think this is the last year for Dre and Clay. Both of them together, at least.
That was actually...
Yeah, I think one of them has to be gone this offseason just for financial reasons.
And that gets into my question is, if you're trading Clay, where do you see him going?
It depends. So I think Clay has earned a bit of loyalty from the Warriors.
Yeah.
And so since I'm a Pacers fan, when we were trading Malcolm Brogdon, we went to him and said, "What do you want to do?" And he said he wanted to compete for a title, and we asked what team, and he said Boston. The Pacers facilitated a trade. Yes, it's paying off dividends because Andrew Nembhard has emerged into a pretty decent rookie player. But there was that loyalty factor of, we're going to get a piece that might work for us. It was actually a couple of pieces that might work with us. Aaron Nesmith was also in that trade. But I think Clay has earned that loyalty to where they should go to him and be like, what do you want to do? And that's difficult because if he wants to compete for a title, I still think Golden State is going to be competitive as long as Stephen Curry is healthy. But if he wants to go to a different team, I think the Warriors should facilitate it. I think he's earned that. Draymond?
Might as well cut him at this point, let's be honest.
I don't know. He's a legitimate player on that team.
He's having one of the worst years of his career right now.
Statistically, yes, but he's still a crucial part to that locker room.
Oh, yeah.
He's Draymond.
He is the voice of that locker room. Arguably, Stephen Curry is the leader on the floor, but Draymond is the leader off the floor.
Yeah, they proved that with Durant.
And, it doesn't help that he punches the young stars.
And kicks people in the dick.
And, well, that's just, you don't ever do that. But, yeah, I don't know. I think the Golden State Warriors are in an interesting spot because they're still going to be competitive as long as Curry is healthy and performing at this level. But it is time to move on from the old core. I agree with that. I just don't know where you go from there. But that's all I've really got to say on the Warriors. Unless one of you has something to say, we can move on to Adam's next pick.
I said what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I said everything I need to say. So I'll move on to my next pick, which is the Jazz. I think this is the simplest one I have ever wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Angela, do you want to say it with me?
Nope.
Okay. Stop winning. You are not a championship caliber team.
Thank you.
You need... I know that people say, oh, well, throwing so you get a high draft pick is illegal. People do it all the time.
I'm just
You
saying.
need to try to get that pick.
Look, I'm just saying, I want them to win. I want them to win it all. I want them to win it all.
Oh yeah, I would love to see the
Cinderella
Cinderella story do it.
movie where Brendan Fraser plays Laurie Markkinen.
Yeah, I would love to see that, but they're not doing it. Unfortunately, I just don't think they have the talent to do it this season.
Look, they don't. They absolutely don't. You are completely right, but I'm still going to hope for it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hope for it.
In this year where we don't have a lot to cheer for, the world's on fire, I want the Utah Jazz to win the NBA Finals.
No. I don't want them in the play-in tournament. I don't want them playing the 4 or 5 seed. I don't want them... I want them in the lottery where they belong, trying to get Victor.
They're not getting Victor.
No, they're not getting Victor, but that's where they belong.
I don't care where they belong. I'm telling you what I want. This is my selfish pick. I want the Cinderella story.
It's dead.
But
it's not dead, and the hope will always be there.
It's dead. They're bad. They should feel bad.
But that's my... I mean, it's a very simple one for the Jazz.
Yeah, that's a very easy one. They're a team that should have been in the Victor sweepstakes from the gate, and they just started really hot.
Single-digit wins right now.
You know what team they remind me of?
Oh God.
The We Believe Warriors.
Oh no! Oh no! They're a lot worse. They're a lot.
They remind me of like early years of the process.
See, they remind me of the We Believe Warriors because nobody thought they was going to do anything, and then they just came out and was a team that
Yeah,
5-6 seed?
They are playing great team basketball, but I agree with Angelo. That's the only time you're going to hear me say it. Like, they're going to come back down to earth and they're going to free fall in the standings, but I want it. That's my
a lot more often than you want to admit, but
that is my Christmas list, is that they make the NBA Finals. That is all I want for Christmas. Just because I will be taking a victory lap on this show if they do. They're not going to, but if they did, we would spend an entire hour and 30 minutes with me just telling Angelo how wrong he is.
I'm going to have a segment where I dance on their grave.
But,
and in fact, I hope they miss the playoffs by one seeding so they get the worst lottery odds they could have.
You're a dick.
Yeah. I said it.
Now, I will say something I just saw. Did you guys see that the president of basketball operations of Atlanta just moved on?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. I just wanted to bring that up real quick because I think that's going to help a lot with the coaching change.
So.
Well, we'll move on to Angelo's next because I feel like just kind of... It's the Jazz. It's the Jazz.
They suck. Alright, so my next one is the Lakers. Oh, my Lakers. Oh, my.
Your Lakers.
Not my Lakers, but oh, my Lakers.
I guess he looks at that the way I look at Carmelo's team is like, I still call it my team, even though my team will always be the Hawks.
Yeah.
Time out, y'all. Hold on. Before we get into that,
yeah.
Did y'all see the Nets Warriors last night?
Where the Nets destroyed them? Yes.
Did you see the first half scoring?
No.
Nets had 91 points in the first half.
Woo.
Would you believe me if I told you that even though the Nets scored 143 points, their leading scorer only scored 23?
That's surprising.
That is amazing. Of all the players that played, only 3 players, which was Watanabe, Morris, and Thomas, scored outside of double digits. Every other player on the team that got minutes got at least 10. That is impressive. But sorry, I just forgot to bring that up earlier.
So the Lakers currently sit 13-17. They are quite literally the 12th seed. So they're out of even the play-in tournament right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10, so they're not really doing themselves any favors. They need to make a trade. I saw an interview recently where AD disagreed that this wasn't the best he was playing. His Pelican years were better. He's wrong. This is the best year he's playing. Just period. The Lakers are currently 7th in points per game, which is good. They're a top 10 offense. They're 27th in points against. They need... I mean, we've talked about the Lakers ad nauseum in the first 3-4 episodes. Now, they need to make a deal. They need to get wing defenders. They need to get shooters. They probably should have done the Buddy Hield Miles Turner trade. I don't think that's anywhere on the table now.
That's my problem.
Yeah. I think... Go ahead.
This shouldn't be their Christmas list. This should be their start of the season list.
Yeah.
Because it was obvious from the start, like, those early Westbrook games were painful to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've gotten a little bit better, but as a team, they're just... it's not there.
Carrying them, dude. LeBron has had 30 points in the last, 5 games, too, I believe. But they're just... They're AD and LeBron now. Westbrook is not a factor. They should have never done... Anyway.
Yeah, I think that they're regretting because we're wanting more for Westbrook than any team wants to give because it's Russell freaking Westbrook, and he's not that guy anymore. And then it became, we're going to wait until Thanksgiving. Well, now we're a month on from Thanksgiving, 2 months out from the trade deadline, and nothing has happened. And I don't know if the Lakers front office is still waiting for someone to magically come out and offer great value for Russell Westbrook, but it's not going to happen. He's just not worth it anymore. And especially not for that contract. As an expiring deal, I'm sure he'll get moved closer to the trade deadline, but it's not going to move him.
Help them make the lottery.
Oh yeah, he'd be a great tank commander, but he's going to go to a team, probably a late lottery team, for a first-round pick, because he's an expiring, and they're going to clear some cap space. That's all the Lakers can hope for at this point. They blew it earlier when they wanted more than he was worth, and I think they're having some reverse buyer's remorse there. And if they're not, then I would question their commitment to winning in their star players.
You just said they're gonna move, Westbrook for like a first when he's on 1 year left in his deal. They lost LeBron. He's gone. All you're gonna have is AD at that point. So I guess the goal then is now try to build people around.
I don't think LeBron's gone until Bronny's in the league.
Agreed. I think he at least signs 1 year deals until Bronny comes in.
Yeah, because then he's gonna go to whatever team has committed to drafting him.
Cavs, by the way. We'll be the Cavs.
No,
but I think they have to make a trade. They needed to make a trade 3 months ago. They were really hoping for this to work, and it just didn't. And I think this is what happens when you let star players make decisions for your franchise and pay their friends. But that's a topic for another podcast thing. Videocast. A new media form.
Brought to you by No Reserve Radio.
But do you have anything else to add to the Lakers, either of you?
I think their Christmas list is very, very simple. You want to win this year. You've got to make a step to win this year. If you want...
donate a high pick to...
Yeah, if you don't want to donate them that high pick, you have to do something this year.
Yeah, they've got to make a push soon.
Yep.
I just don't know if it's too late, because there's got to be some time to establish chemistry.
Yep.
But moving right along, I think it's back to me. Yep,
yes.
It's me. So for my number 4th, it's the Sacramento Kings, and again, what are you godding?
The Kings are also your We Believe team too. They're not getting anywhere.
No. I don't think it's this year. I think it's next year. I think they're on the right path. But this was one that it took me. This was probably the quickest besides my 5th team.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just opened their roster, because that's where I start with my research, is I just pop up the roster, and so I'll just open with this. Their second leading rebounder on their team is averaging 5 rebounds. Yeah. Their rebounding is Domantas Sabonis and nothing. Their backup bigs really don't exist. That is the Kings' biggest need. That should be the Kings' Christmas list, is getting a backup center, power forward, whatever, someone that can come in, defend, and get rebounds. Because right now, if Sabonis were to get injured, this team is not winning any games just on the fact that they can't rebound. There's no one on this team that can commit to that. There's no one on this team with a nose to get boards. And there's not a desire there. because Sabonis isn't averaging absurd numbers of rebounds. He's respectable, but
what is he, around 8?
no, God, what?
11.
It's 12, but you're close.
Were you saying respectable? I was figuring around 8.
No, as a big, I think that 12 is respectable, but I grew up in an era with like, Dwight Howard and
Dennis Rodman,
Andre Drummond, and
Thinking about it, maybe the Kings should have traded for Gobert because they usually score before he's, at half court to be an offensive liability. So,
see, I think going back to what we said with the Timberwolves, I think Cat's the best option to go with Sabonis.
I think just on the fact of being a catch and shooter, because Sabonis is such an elite playmaker for his position, because he's averaging like 7 assists this season. I think Cat would be ideal because that's someone that's going to get you boards. That's someone that's going to shoot the three well.
Make that move. What's a realistic move they could even attempt?
A realistic move?
Yeah.
That is actually a great question. John Collins.
Think they could be in the A?
If Jeremy Grant was still on the market, Jeremy Grant, but they're not going to trade him in conference.
No. Plus, he needs to help them be mediocre enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to compete for the finals. So
you're just a hater. But
realistically, what if you went and
actually, you know what?
What if you went and talked to the Hawks about another one of their bigs and Clint Capella?
I don't like that so much, but going to Angelo's new favorite player, Kyle Kuzma, would actually fit really well. Or PJ Washington. I know Jay Crowder wants out. Rocco. Like, there are options. But they've got to get someone that can play that 4, slot into the 5 occasionally, and just be there as a secondary option if Sabonis goes down. Because if Sabonis were to get injured right now, I'm going to be honest with you, even after researching, I don't know who would be their starting 5. Alex Len, maybe? But if that's, like, you're just writing the season off at that point. So that would be my Christmas wish list if I was the Sacramento Kings, is a backup big or at least a big wing that could get rebounds, because 5 rebounds as your second leading rebounder is inexcusable. Unexcusable. Words.
Kings is inexcusable, but
just a hater. But I don't have anything else to say about the Kings.
I don't either. I
I
completely
want
agree.
to the playoffs when they get eliminated in the first round.
So moving right along, because I'm not going to listen to Angelo go on another rant.
So I believe it's me.
It is you.
Okay, so I don't know which order I want to do them in. They're almost basically the same list, but I guess I'll start with the Mavs. You need to protect Luka's health, like your life depends on it.
Yeah, get a hockey enforcer in there.
Yes, you need somebody that can help protect Luka. You don't have that right now. So, what I think you need to do is just, if you don't trade, there's a lot of good free agents coming up next year that would be good for Luka. And I think you go and get one of them. Get you maybe a Chris Middleton. Get you someone like a John Collins, since you was talking about it. Get you that brute that will stand up to people. Draymond Green.
Dre would be a good one.
But I think that's just my Christmas list for the Mavericks is you do that. You already have your team, you have your superstar player. You've got at least 50% of the work done. Just work on the other 50%.
I think the other 50% is going to be the hard thing. I know Ren has said this a lot. They're trying to get pieces around Luka. They're trying. I think they're going to try their way into a bad situation with Luka. I really do. I think that they're trying to patch things up and not, because I think at the end of the day, Luka has to play 40 minutes all night, every night, and this is going to be in the playoffs too, for the Mavericks to stand a chance in the game. And I think eventually, as he gets older, that's going to wear on his body. I think that's going to hurt his longevity in the long run. I love Luka. I so badly want to. Spoiler alert for my playoff predictions. I want to call them my favorites, but I just can't. It's just I can't.
I'm right there with you. I think that they're going to do something stupid like give Chris Middleton superstar money or get a bunch of pieces that we know don't fit because they're the only things that are available instead of biding their time.
Yep.
Because right now, everything we've seen, again, we're not inside the locker rooms or anything.
No.
Luka's not upset with how things are going right now. Will that change if they continue to be mediocre and he's carrying the load? Potentially. It's hard to say.
It depends on his personality matrix. Like, if it was me and the Mavericks kept putting, borderline pedestrian teams around me and, trying to get me to, dirk it into the finals, I'd want to go. But I don't know if that's Luka.
Right, and so far it doesn't seem like that. So I think they've got time to wait until the right things become available because I'm very concerned they're going to screw it up.
Yeah.
And just try to force puzzle pieces that don't fit and basically put a hold on what we want to see from Luka, which is we want to see Luka in the NBA Finals. We all want to see that because not only is he a great player, but he's a great on-court personality. And I definitely, personally, want to see him under the biggest lights. So, I see them making those brash decisions, but I hope they don't, and I hope Mark Cuban has the foresight to not allow that to happen.
Oh, 100%. You won't hear me say this very often, but I do agree with you on that 100%.
But I think that's all I've got for the Mavs.
That's all I have, really. Like I said, you just need to protect Luka.
Yeah. And I agree. That's your golden cow. You build a bubble around him and don't let it burst. But Angelo, you are up next with number 4.
Number 5.
Number 5. Right, we're coming back around, right?
Number 5, yeah. I know. You're used to finishing with me, because your best player takes the last shot, and that's me. So.
Well, Adam's taking the last shot today, apparently.
Unfortunately.
So don't know about the good idea.
I did the Spurs because I think this might be my spiciest take.
Okay.
I looked at the Spurs. They're the player that currently leads them in win shares. Do you know who that is?
Cam Johnson.
Devin Vassell.
Or Keldon Johnson.
It's Jakob Poeltl with 1.5.
That is... yeah. Okay. Yeah,
so, since they lost Kawhi, they have gone 32 and 39, 33 and 39, 34 and 48, 10 and 20. I think it's time for new voices in the coaching and the GM. I think this is a situation where I don't think Popovich is as equipped to coach and build the next generation of Spurs up. I think it needs to be a new regime that does it.
Yeah, Pop is the greatest coach of all time.
Easily,
That's not even objective, but I
No.
think it's time. Are you saying no?
No, I'm saying no. I agree. He's the greatest coach of all time.
I was gonna say that was the stupidest take of the night. If you were disagreeing with that, but I think it is time for him to ride off into the sunset.
He's ruining his legacy right now.
Yeah, he's not a spring chicken anymore, and it's time for new voices. And there are some great. I think Becky Hammond's still there. She's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Give her a shot at the head coaching spot and let the young team develop. And yeah, there's been some setbacks because Josh Primo looked like an up-and-coming quality NBA player, and obviously he's no longer currently with a job.
I think the problem is that I think before Kawhi left, they had themselves set up very, very nicely. I think they were prepared to ride the next wave with Kawhi, and that whole saga where he eventually got shipped off to the Raptors kind of threw a monkey wrench in that. And it's been 4 years now, and I don't think they've really found anything viable that, you know, they don't have their next Kawhi. They don't have their next Duncan. I don't even think they really have anyone who I'd consider their next Manu or Tony Parker. They don't have anyone to build around. They got Keldon Johnson.
Devin Vassell, gotta stop sleeping on him.
He's going to be a role player for another team.
Since I just looked it up, because we were talking about the Spurs, apparently the psychologist who had filed a lawsuit against Josh Primo dropped it. I don't know if it's too late, but I would like to see him picked back up by the Spurs if everything is actually good there. Because he was a part of that young core, and it was a decent future. But I do agree that the team needs to be looking more towards the future and stop riding the legacy of the past, because yes, the Spurs are probably the most, well, not even probably, they are the most successful franchise of the modern era. But it's time to move on. It's time to get to the future, and there's multiple paths to that future, I think.
100%. I think the only way I could see Pop staying, like justifying it, is if they got Victor, and you could have Pop coach Victor up as, you know, their next heir apparent.
I don't know. I want the man to retire.
Yeah, me
for
too.
his sake, for his family's sake. Like,
yeah, me too.
You've been doing it long enough. You have earned that right.
He's proven enough.
Yeah, there's nothing left to prove. You are the greatest coach of all time. Just right off into the sunset. Give your speeches when players retire. Enjoy your time in the Hall of Fame. That's
okay.
I don't have anything else to say about that.
Why did they not? I know it's because he's still in the league, but I think Coach of the Year trophy needs to be renamed after him.
Since he's still in the league, I can't. But
well, I'm just saying, since they was doing the updates to the trophies, it either
okay. Since he's still in the league, who should it be? Should it be the Phil Jackson Award? I don't know either. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Who should it be?
I'm just saying, 9 rings.
Doesn't he have 10?
6 with Jordan, 3 with Kobe, and Shaq.
Kobe has 5 rings.
Yes, he did. I don't think he coached them in 08 and 09 when they was on those runs. Did he?
I'd have to look it up.
I'm looking right now. It was Phil Jackson. You were correct. So yeah, he has 5. Or 10.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw a curveball out for a name. It's not really a curveball because if it's not Pop and it's not Jackson, because I don't want it to be Jackson, Pat Riley.
Pat Riley.
Okay, that's...
Yeah.
See, I think he's more deserves the general manager of the year award because...
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just really don't want it to be a Phil Jackson. Like that.
If you don't go Phil Jackson...
Jerry Sloan? Like...
Jerry Sloan, maybe...
He quit on his team.
Deron Williams made him leave.
It's a name I haven't thought about in a while. Since we're younger, there's probably someone like if there's like older people.
I'm trying not to do like 80s back because they're trying to do like newer names.
I don't know. We've spent enough time on the trophies between the last episode and this. I don't want it like that's making my head hurt.
Only thing else I'm gonna add is if I had to do it, it would be probably Chuck Daly or Larry Brown. If it's not
Larry Brown, I wouldn't have an issue with.
Yeah.
But moving right along.
To your
my
final.
fifth team. Yeah, this is my last team. And I saved the worst for last. I'm going to be completely honest with you because the last team that I drew in our pool was the Pelicans.
Last shot. That's why you never taken a last shot. Anyway, go on.
I drew the Pelicans, and the Pelicans are just such a good team.
With the chance of getting another lottery pick.
Yeah, and you know maybe that should be their Christmas wish is that the Lakers bottom out and they have the better shot at Victor. But in terms of like actual researching of them,
it has to involve Zion.
It's like a 12th man. Like they need more depth. That's the only thing I could find. Like yeah, I could say oh they could use Kevin Durant or they could use Steph Curry, but realistically all this team needs, because it's such a well-constructed team from top to bottom,
really
is either a depth defensive big or a depth wing.
See, I think they need a playmaker.
That's it. I don't.
I think they need someone who can get Zion the ball, get Ingram the ball where they need it, when they need it. They need a Rondo-esque player.
They move the ball so well as a team. I don't think they need someone floor generaling them.
Oh, no, I'm not saying a floor general. I'm just saying they need someone who, as much as I hate to say it, like Draymond, who can get the ball and make an extra pass. That one unselfish player.
But they're all unselfish. That's the thing. Like, you expect them all to have, like, these giant egos, but, like, when you're watching them, the ball is just whipping around the floor all the time, and it's always finding the right person. Like, they are doing so well at that side of it. Like, yeah, their leading assist getter only has 6 assists, but they've got, like, 4 guys that are in the 4.5 range. Like, it is just great team basketball, and that's depth, rebounding, defense, shooting. That's all I could find for what I would add to this team in a realistic fashion. Because with how successful they are, because they're number 1 in the West right now. They might be number 1.
They're 3.
Are they number 3 now?
Yeah, 18 and 12. They're a game behind the Nuggets and Grizzlies.
Well, when I was researching, they were number 1. But with how successful they've been, you can't make a trade for a big piece without sacrificing that core, and they've played so well together. The only realistic option I could find was a depth piece, and that's like testament to the Pelicans because they have really turned it around from the Anthony Davis days. If neither of you have anything to add to it, like I should have gone with the Pelicans first because they're that boring of a team to talk about.
I think the thing I'd be concerned about if I was the Pelicans is when the playoffs do start, because that's what I care about. You've had a good amount of, granted most of them were first round exits, but you've had a good amount of playoff games played without Zion in there now. So what's that going to look like when the playoffs start, when these players are used to playing without Zion when the games matter?
Here's my thing: is we haven't seen Zion in the playoffs. We haven't seen him under pressure. We don't know how he's going to handle the pressure. We don't know.
Zion will be fine.
Zion choked in the NCAA finals. He missed the free throws that cost him the championship.
I think Zion is, out of all the players in the league that have not been to the finals, right? I think Zion is the most ready for that moment. I think he'll be fine. If they make it to the finals, Zion is not my concern on that team.
I'm just concerned how the team's going to be around him if he's there, though.
Yeah, and that's fair. He's missed a lot of games in his career, obviously, and health is a concern. So
I actually went to Zion's page because I didn't believe Adam, but he does not have any playoff stats. Adam is right.
No, and that's this year, obviously, barring an implosion, we will see Zion in the playoffs, but I think Zion is ready for that moment. I think he'll be fine. I would be concerned with the rest of the team, but I have no concerns about Zion. None. As long as he's healthy. And so you could say, like, that could be their... I don't want...
It just to be healthy, yeah.
Yeah, it just be healthy, because that feels like a cop-out, and yeah, I took the cop-out with the Pelicans of just saying, oh, they need a depth shooter. But legitimately, in terms of realistic acquisitions, that's the only thing I could find. So that's all I got.
Here's the thing with the Christmas list that I'm going to say as a whole is because I think I'm a little bit more proficient in football than I am in basketball. And in football, it feels like when playoff starts, it's a war of attrition. The healthiest team usually wins.
Yeah.
So if the playoffs matter in the grand scheme of things, when I look at each team, I want to look at their chances and viability of making the finals. Health is really the biggest thing. And if you're not a playoff team, then really what you want is either development or high draft picks so I don't even know if I'd call them a cop-out. I think the wish list has been more of a reason to discuss every team, and I think overall, no matter what team you follow, there has been at least something to hear about your favorite team.
Right, and I think, like, from a personal
point of view, fan appeasement, but
from a personal point of view, I've enjoyed this because while I did do in-depth research on my teams, I also was researching the other teams in the conference, and I try to watch as many games as possible, and if nothing else, I'm watching highlights of most teams, but I'm not able to really follow those teams closely, but I spend a lot of times either browsing comments on the teams that you guys were following's Facebook pages or their Reddits. Like, there was a lot of... By the way, follow us on Facebook. There was a lot of time learning about teams and players that I otherwise wouldn't have. So I've enjoyed this.
Yes. So I'm going to add some context, too, because if you're listening to this, you don't actually get how impressive that is, because Ren over here works probably more than both of us combined. No, not probably. He works more than both of us.
I guarantee he works quadruple what both of us do.
So that means that he spends any free time he gets consuming an NBA, watching highlights, researching for this stuff. It's
preparing for you guys.
So I don't know if I'd call it impressive for me. I have the same hours. I leave at the same time every day.
I don't have a necessarily set schedule. I typically just work 70 plus hours every week. It's great, but
my days at work is someone throwing an onion at me, or having to kick out someone who comes into the store half an hour before opening. That happened today, by the way. We had to kick someone out of the store because they tried to get into the store half an hour before we opened.
Did they come back?
Yeah, we got that. If you're listening to this and you're snowed in right now, that's probably why you've subjected yourself to listening to us talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours, however long this ends up being. About 2 hours. So if you're listening to this, it's probably because you're snowed in. Because if you're in the Midwest or the Northern 48, you're dealing with a lot of winter weather right now. We're aware. Thank you for spending that time with us. It's quality time. We're getting to know you. You're getting to know us. Thank you. But, Adam, there are 10 seconds on the clock. The ball is in your hands. Bring us home.
Okay.
Man, we just lost.
Well, I'm going to bring us home with a cop-out then, since you wanted to say it earlier.
He choked it! He choked it! Oh, no!
I think the Clippers... I think it's more of a behind-the-scenes thing that needs to happen.
Uh-huh.
So my Christmas list for them is they got to hire some better athletic doctors. There's too many injuries on that team. Kawhi and PG can't stay healthy at the same time. They've barely played together in playoffs. You got to get something to keep them healthy.
I'm just gonna say maybe, and this is just me spitballing here. So Pacers fan here, right? So I very familiar with Paul George, and
and blowing playoffs. Yes, I know.
And as you two will be aware, I'm not the biggest Kawhi Leonard fan. So with those two players in mind, I have an alternative suggestion instead of hiring a new medical staff. My Christmas list would be the players listening to the medical professionals who know more than they do.
Are you serious?
I'm just saying, clearly, sitting out of games isn't the solution. Maybe you should actually be listening to the medical teams because they know what they're talking about. You don't. Your job is to score the basketball. That's all I want to hear from you. I do not want any more medical advice from NBA players. I'm sorry. That's just my soapbox.
I don't want any scientific stuff from NBA players, like Kyrie pulling the whole earth is flat.
That's the thing. You're not in his mindset, and not only that, he's expected to perform when he is out there, so he has to be in the right physical and mental condition.
Right. But he is not... If he's supposed to be in the best physical condition, maybe he should be listening to the people who have dedicated their lives to studying the physical condition instead of just saying, you know, they're responsible for my injury. I demand a trade because I'm not happy. When you're doing it your way, it's clearly not working, so maybe you should try it their way.
I'm going to choose the Spurs with that and not talking about the Clippers. There was more than that going on with.
And that was most of it that came out, but I'm just saying, listen to medical professionals. They've dedicated their lives to this stuff. Don't listen to personalities that have no discernible medical background.
Oh yeah, 100% agree. Especially if they're telling you not to get vaccinated.
I mean that it depends. I think that's.
Oh man!
I think if you want to make a choice not to.
Yeah, but I'm saying don't listen to some person that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. So if you're going to make that decision, do it from a point of education, not because one of the Kardashians have told you something. Like, if they've told you something and you're like, hey, you know, maybe they're right, do actual research. Don't go watch YouTube videos. Look, we are going off on a tangent that we definitely should be going off on.
We should not.
Point is, figure out what's best for you by going through the proper channels. Don't get medical advice from Kim Kardashian. All I'm saying.
I think you have to worry more about medical advice from TikTok now.
Kim Kardashian is on TikTok. Hey, follow us on TikTok. We're on TikTok, right?
Yeah. I actually...
Okay, follow us on TikTok.
I actually didn't know she was on TikTok because I actually don't really use TikTok.
I think
I'm gonna try to get this conversation back to a basketball standpoint. If PG
Kim Kardashian has dated basketball players, I think.
Chris Humphries.
PG and Kawhi are healthy, and the Clippers are, say, a 4 seed, a 5 seed. Do you really want to see them?
She dated Chris Humphries, Lamar Odom, and Tristan Thompson.
Wait,
what were you asking?
She dated Lamar? I thought that was her sister.
She also dated Pete Davidson.
Well, she's dating Pete Davidson right now.
No, they broke up.
Oh, did they?
Oh, they broke up. God, follow Kim Kardashian on TikTok, Adam.
Why would I follow Kim Kardashian?
Maybe she'll follow you back. I don't know.
Yay.
Yeah.
What was your... What did you say, Angelo? I completely zoned out.
It's healthy and in the right headspace, and PG is healthy. Do you really want to see the Clippers in the playoffs, no matter what seeding they have?
What team
I
am
don't.
I? What team am I?
Does it matter?
It does.
Really?
It absolutely does. So I'm going to use your logic here. What has PG done in the playoffs?
Oh, Kawhi is the guy.
No.
taking the final shot.
What has Paul George done in the playoffs?
He has shown glimpses of greatness and then choked.
No.
in the conference finals.
No, you're
I said
backtracking.
it then choked in the conference finals.
You
That
are
is where he
backtracking.
chokes it. The conference finals.
You got to get through the conference finals to get to the finals.
That is true.
He has, by your definition, he is not a successful player, so he's not a threat in the playoffs. Your definition.
But he's not the guy. I didn't
Doesn't
say
matter.
if PG was controlling the team and Kawhi was out. I said if PG and Kawhi are there, who do you want? What team wants that?
But it doesn't matter that Kawhi is there. How many times has LeBron been to the finals? Where are the Lakers? Make it make sense, Angelo. Be consistent.
Even out.
So
LeBron is out of his prime. Kawhi at least has a shot to still carry a team to the finals. Does he not? Does he not?
By himself? No.
He has PG.
What success does PG have?
I'll do the same with the Trey argument. PG is not going to make it to the finals as the best guy, but as the second guy, he has a shot. Does he not?
He has a shot.
PG's biggest playoff moment was getting waved at by Damian Lillard.
No, PG's biggest playoff moment was LeBron James, PG, dueling dunks. That was an exciting series, but that doesn't matter. I don't. If I am thinking of Western Conference, I've got all the Western Conference teams pulled up here. If I am the Pelicans, I'm not that scared.
I want to see the Clippers become the Pelicans. They have no inside defense.
If I am the Warriors, this season,
Really? If you're the Warriors, who can't
as long as
defend
Steph
anyone
Curry is
right now?
healthy, as long as Steph Curry is healthy, I'm picking the Warriors in most series just because he turns it up.
You're one of those fools I said who are afraid to write off the Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay.
It's not
It's
that I'm
okay.
afraid.
You can write them off.
I will write off the Warriors. I'm not writing off Steph Curry until he shows regression. I'm not doing it. I'm not. You can call me a fool. I'm not.
I don't think you can really regress when you're a good jump shooter. Look at Ray Allen.
He will eventually, because eventually he's not going to have the speed to get open. If I'm the Nuggets, honestly, I don't fear the Clippers.
Really?
It could be Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and Kawhi's like, my hammy's hurt. I need load management.
Stop it.
And then Paul George will blame the ownership and demand a trade.
Nah, he would never do that.
Never.
A little bit of
I'm just saying
So-
history.
Pacers fan.
History, it's a thing. He
You're just
teased the
mad
Lakers
you
that he was
couldn't
coming
win
to
with
the
them.
Lakers. No.
Huh?
He teased the Lakers that he was coming to the Lakers and then dipped.
Kawhi do that too, or are you talking about Kawhi?
I don't know, PG. Oh, did Kawhi do that too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
It's hard for me to say poor Lakers, but poor Lakers.
He actually did a genius strategy because he waited until everyone else signed, and then he signed.
It's
And-
fair.
Yeah.
And that was just
Kinda
perfect.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a tangent. I'm not scared of the Clippers. I should be, but I'm not. Like, just because history. It's
Kawhi Leonard is a great player. He single-handedly... But Kawhi Leonard.
he's
I can't-
absolutely a great player.
I can't say that he single-handedly won Toronto the championship, but he was a very big contribution to it. The Kawhi we've seen with the Clippers has not been that Kawhi.
No, and again, like...
Oh, speaking of which, you asked for better... Who was the mid-range shooter? DeRozan? Kawhi
DeRozan.
might be it. Kawhi might be it.
It's DeRozan.
It's DeRozan.
You think so?
100%.
There are stats to back it up. I think DeRozan's shooting like 60-something% from mid-range, and there's no one even close to him. Okay. He's a mid-range magician, as they call them.
Midi magician.
But what is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Like any closing remarks about?
Yes, Ren. Yes, there is, Ren. Yes, there is, Ren.
And suddenly this just became a 2-hour and 30-minute podcast.
Yes, it will. Yes, it has.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Yes, Merry Christmas. I am taking the first victory lap of the series. I don't care if it's in the regular season. I don't care. Mr. Clutch, 0 for 8 from 3. Cavaliers losing the entire game, lost it in the fourth. The Pacers could have only put up 18 points in the fourth. Go Cavs. Donovan Mitchell dropped 40. You're the same Pacers team that I've always known you to be. You're going to blow it in the playoffs. Mr. Clutch is not as clutch as you think he is. Go on.
I'm just saying, you had to win on an off night for Tyrese, and Donovan had to drop 41 for you to barely win.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see you next game. That's like,
see you in the playoffs when you choke that series too, I'm sure.
I'm just saying, you barely won. You barely won, and Donovan had to drop 40 for that. That's not the flex you think it is.
I'm telling you. You guys are going to blow it.
I'm telling you, you're saying a 41% three-point shooter is going to shoot 0-4 again, and that's just not going to happen. But if you want to take that victory lap, go ahead and take your quarter season.
Faced a playoff team, and he lost. Get used to it.
We've got 5 more games against the Cavs. We'll see. But I think that's all we've got time for today. This has been a long segment. Just full transparency. I don't even think we've got our topic for next week. I think with it being a holiday, we slowed down a little bit. We will have a topic for next week, but I think we might go more of a variety just for the post-holiday, because this is an incredibly busy work week for us, so we're going to maybe take it a little light. We've had 2
Is the next episode 1st of January?
No, 28th.
No.
Or 29th.
It's the 28th. But with it being a busy week and the fact that we just did 2 massive episodes, I think we might come back with a bigger topic if we come up with one. But as of now, I think the idea is going to be a little bit of a variety show to end the year, and then we're going to come back with our new, I don't want to say model, but we've got some plans we're going to implement going into 2023.
So it's going to release January 1st, by the way.
And hopefully the ideas we have are going to pay off. Either way, we're going to have fun doing it. Hopefully you have fun joining us for this little journey we're on. Like we've been saying all episode, because I was told, I don't personally use social media right now because I don't have the time for it, but I was told I had to plug the social media, so I've been throwing it in there everywhere.
I was going to say, I think we've plugged it quite a bit.
But I'm going to plug it again.
Enough to do that. And I run one of them.
I'm going to plug it again. Follow us on social media. We are on every platform. If you were to follow us, it is No Reserves Radio on all platforms. Get enough people following us, maybe we can get Angelo onto social media.
No,
that would be
not going to happen.
That would be an achievement, and y'all could take a victory lap as Angelo admins some of those.
Yeah, get us big enough to where we can have our own subreddit, and you can make fun of Angelo all you want.
And if you want, if we do a variety show next week, if anyone's listening, submit questions, submit topics, give us something to ask each other, make it fun, get involved. We do like engagement. We haven't had any yet, I don't think. I don't run anything. Get engaged.
Get engaged. Ooh,
Get engaged, get involved.
Do you
Find
have
love
frozen
of
to me,
your life.
Ron?
But most importantly, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.